Take a slow, gentle breath, and let your eyes grow heavy. Tonight, we are traveling back to the quiet coast of America in the year 1924. A lonely lighthouse stands on a rocky cliff above the endless sea. Every evening, one kind old keeper climbs its winding stairs to light the great lamp that guides ships safely home. There is nowhere else you need to be. Simply relax, listen, and allow this peaceful story to carry you gently towards sleep. The cool evening breeze drifted softly across the Atlantic Ocean as the last rays of sunlight disappeared behind the distant horizon. Waves rolled slowly against the dark rocks below, their gentle rhythm repeating again and again, like a calm heartbeat. High above the shoreline stood an old white lighthouse. It had watched over the sea for many decades. Its bright lantern had safely guided thousands of sailors through storms, thick fog, and quiet nights. Inside the lighthouse lived a man named Thomas Whitmore. Thomas was 68 years old. His silver hair had become thin over the years, and gentle lines covered his weathered face. He had spent nearly 40 years caring for the lighthouse. To him, it was more than a building. It was his home. It was his closest companion. Every evening followed the same peaceful routine. As the golden light faded from the sky, Thomas carefully folded the blanket on his small wooden bed. He quietly placed another piece of oak wood into the iron stove. The fire crackled warmly. Its gentle glow filled the tiny room with soft orange light. A small kettle rested above the flames. Soon, fresh tea filled the room with a comforting aroma. Thomas smiled quietly. Simple evenings like these had become his greatest treasure. After finishing his tea, he reached for his thick wool coat. He wrapped a long gray scarf around his neck. Outside, seabirds circled above the cliffs one final time before returning to their nests. The cool ocean wind carried the scent of salt and pine trees growing nearby. Thomas stepped outside. He paused for a moment. The world around him felt wonderfully still. Far below, the waves continued their endless conversation with the rocky shore. Somewhere in the distance, a fishing boat slowly returned toward the harbor. Its tiny lantern flickered like a little golden star upon the dark water. Thomas looked toward the western sky. The first evening stars had begun to appear. Soon, it would be time. He opened the heavy wooden door leading into the lighthouse tower. The spiral staircase waited before him. 112 stone steps curved upward toward the great lantern room. Thomas climbed slowly. He was never in a hurry. Each step echoed softly through the quiet tower. Step. 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 He had climbed these same stairs almost every evening for 4 decades. He knew every small crack in the stone. Every wooden railing polished smooth by countless hands. At the very top, he unlocked the brass door. The lantern room welcomed him with wide glass windows stretching in every direction. From here, the entire ocean seemed endless. The last colors of sunset painted the clouds with soft shades of gold, lavender, and deep blue. Thomas carefully inspected the great lamp. He cleaned every piece of glass with a soft cloth. Even the smallest speck of dust could dim the light. After checking the oil reservoir one final time, he gently lit the great flame. For a brief moment, nothing happened. Then, a warm golden light slowly grew brighter. The enormous crystal lens began turning. Round. And round. And round. Soon, its bright beam swept gracefully across the sea. Far away, ships would see its comforting light. Some sailors would whisper, "There it is, we're almost home." Thomas never met most of those people. But somehow, helping strangers find safety always filled his heart with quiet happiness. He stood beside the window for several peaceful minutes. The sea looked calm tonight. Only gentle waves moved beneath the moonlight. No storms. No heavy winds. Just silence. The kind of silence that allows tired hearts to finally rest. Thomas leaned comfortably against the wooden railing. Above him, countless stars slowly filled the night sky. The Milky Way stretched softly overhead like a river of tiny diamonds. Many years ago, his father had once stood inside this very lighthouse. He had also been its keeper. As a little boy, Thomas had followed him up these same stairs, carrying small cans of lamp oil that seemed far too heavy for his young arms. His father would smile warmly and say, "Every light we keep burning helps someone find their way home." Thomas had never forgotten those words. Even now, 40 years later, they still echoed gently inside his heart. And as the lighthouse continued sending its peaceful beam across the quiet American coast, Thomas settled into another calm night beneath the endless stars. Thomas remained beside the lantern room window as the great beam of light continued its slow, graceful journey across the sleeping sea. Round and round. Again and again. Its gentle rhythm never hurried. The quiet sound of the turning mechanism had become as familiar to him as his own heartbeat. Outside, the moon climbed higher into the peaceful sky. Its silver light stretched across the calm Atlantic like a long ribbon of silk. Far below, waves kissed the rocky shoreline with soft whispers. Nothing demanded attention. Nothing rushed. The entire coastline seemed to breathe together in perfect peace. Thomas slowly descended the narrow staircase. Each wooden step gave a soft creak beneath his boots. Downstairs, the little cabin was warm from the fire. The kettle still rested gently upon the iron stove. He poured another cup of tea. Steam curled slowly into the quiet room. The comforting scent of chamomile filled the air. Thomas carried the cup to the old rocking chair beside the window. He sat down carefully. The chair moved back and forth with a slow, gentle rhythm. Rock. Pause. Rock. Pause. He wrapped a warm blanket around his shoulders. Outside, a gentle breeze moved through the tall grass growing along the cliffs. The sound reminded him of distant whispers from another time. His thoughts drifted back many years. He remembered the summer of 1924, when young children from the nearby village had often visited the lighthouse. Their laughter echoed across the cliffs. They loved climbing the first few stairs before becoming tired. Thomas would always smile and tell them stories about stars, ships, and kind sailors who followed the lighthouse home. One little girl had once asked him, "Does the lighthouse ever get lonely?" Thomas had smiled gently before answering, "I don't think so. Every night, it speaks with the sea. Every morning, it greets the sun. And every evening, it welcomes the stars." He still remembered the child's happy smile. The memory warmed his heart. The fire continued to crackle softly nearby. Outside, somewhere far across the water, a ship's horn sounded. Low. Gentle. Peaceful. Thomas stood and quietly opened the cabin door. Cool night air greeted him. Above him stretched an endless sky filled with countless stars. The Milky Way shimmered softly from one horizon to the other. He slowly walked toward the edge of the cliff. The lighthouse behind him continued its steady work. Its warm golden beam swept across the ocean again. And again. And again. Far away, a small cargo ship answered with a brief flash of light. Thomas smiled. Someone had seen the lighthouse. Someone knew the way home. That simple thought always brought him quiet happiness. He took one slow, comfortable breath. The salty ocean air felt fresh and clean. The scent of pine trees drifted gently from the forest behind him. For a long moment, he simply stood there. Listening. The waves. The wind. The distant call of a seabird. The quiet turning of the great lantern above. There was no need to hurry. No place else to be. Only this peaceful night. Only this calm ocean. Only this gentle light. Hours passed almost unnoticed. The stars slowly crossed the sky. Little by little, the eastern horizon began to change. The darkness softened into deep blue. Then pale silver. Soon, delicate shades of pink and golden orange painted the morning clouds. The first birds began singing quietly among the nearby pine trees. A fishing boat left the harbor, moving slowly toward the open sea. Its captain looked up toward the lighthouse one last time before beginning another peaceful day. Thomas climbed the tower once more. He reached the lantern room just as the first rays of sunlight touched the glass. The great lamp had faithfully shone throughout the entire night. Now, its work was finished. With careful hands, Thomas gently lowered the flame. The bright beam slowly faded. Morning sunlight filled the room instead. He smiled quietly. Another safe night had passed. Another peaceful journey completed. Thomas opened one of the tall windows. Fresh morning air flowed inside. The sound of gentle waves rose from below. The ocean sparkled beneath the golden sunrise. He closed his eyes for a moment and listened. To the sea. To the wind. To the birds. To the peaceful silence that had become his lifelong friend. For nearly 40 years, this lighthouse had watched over the coast without asking for praise. It simply offered light whenever darkness came. And perhaps, there is something beautiful about living that way. Quietly. Kindly. Steadily. Offering comfort to others, one gentle night at a time. As the sun rose higher above the calm American coast, Thomas slowly walked down the spiral staircase toward another peaceful day. And somewhere beyond the endless horizon, the sea continued its timeless song. A song as soft as the morning breeze, as calm as the gentle waves, and as comforting as a warm light guiding every traveler safely home.